Okay, so I think we are ready to start. So welcome everyone to this session on how to stop self-sabotage. Today, I'm going to be, first of all, explaining why self-sabotage happens, what that is, why does it happen, why do we do this to ourselves? And I'm going to be sharing with you a step-by-step process so you can move from self-sabotage to reprogramming yourself for joy, for success, for abundance, whatever you have in your big vision, in your dream, whatever goals you set in mind. We are also going to be doing some tapping or emotional freedom techniques. So for those of you who are familiar with tapping, we're going to be doing a bit of that to clear energetic blocks, and I'm going to explain a bit later why this is important. So I'm being ambitious. I know that there is a lot to cover, and this might sound a bit like, really? Like, really? Is it that simple? We're going to try. We're going to try. Oh, Jay is asking if the Monday ones are over. No, I was in a training course this Monday. I'm doing a breathwork course to be a breathwork coach. So that means that very soon I'm also going to be bringing some breathwork sessions to Inside Timer. So that's the reason why there wasn't one on this Monday. I don't have any other ones scheduled for next week, but there will probably one. I'm just waiting on someone to confirm the time of a session for next Monday, and then to decide if I'm going to do it at lunchtime or in the evening. But no, definitely I will keep those shorter tapping sessions going, and very soon I will add the breathwork ones. So yeah, so if you don't already, feel free to follow me on Inside Timer so you're notified of this live session so you can join me. So back to self-sabotage. What is self-sabotage? Why do we do it? Isn't it annoying? Isn't it really, really, really annoying when you have a goal in mind, when you have a dream, and you know that there is something within you, that there is a part of you that is blocking it, that there is a part of you that doubts yourself all the time, and there is a part of you that doesn't believe that that is possible? Because self-sabotage can be very subtle. We don't do this on purpose, obviously. We're not stupid. Like we don't do this on purpose to make our lives really complicated, do we? It's something that happens in a very subtle way. It's something that happens in a subconscious way, right? And it's really, really annoying. Really, really, really annoying. So we're gonna try to fix this for good. Enough of this, right? So why do we do this? Why do we do this? Every time that there is self-sabotage, it means that there is an inner conflict. So there is a part of you that wants to achieve something, that desires something, that has a vision, that has a dream, a goal in mind, and wants to go after it. And therefore you're taking action, right? Self-sabotage is really annoying because you are aware that you want something. You are aware of where you want to go, but you feel like something keeps you stuck, like something is blocking you, right? So there is a part of you that desires or wants something or has something in mind, and therefore you're trying and you're taking actions. But there is another part of you that doesn't believe it's possible, that doubts yourself all the time. There is another part of yourself that might be scared. Whatever you have in mind, whatever the goal you have in mind, it might be that it's scared. There might be a part of yourself that has a belief, a program, a persistent thought, let's say, that is not possible, that is not safe, that's never going to happen for you, that is not good for some reason. And I'm going to be giving some examples in a minute. And then there is an inner conflict, right? It's like two directions. So I'm just going to move the microphone because I don't want to punch it. Make a mess. So there are like different parts of yourself that are moving, or the energy is moving in opposite directions. So that creates a tension, that creates resistance, right? And what happens is that if the part or parts of yourself, because there could be various elements at play, if the part or parts of yourself that don't support your vision are stronger, then that can show up as self-sabotage, that means that you're not going to achieve that desired outcome, that goal, that dream. So sometimes you try harder. When this happens, what do? You try harder, right? So for example, maybe let's share some examples of self-sabotage to make it clear. And by the way, I didn't say at the beginning, but guys, feel free to ask any questions you might have. Feel free to share your insights. I know you all here are wise people and are on amazing journeys. So feel free to share your thoughts, your insights, your experiences, and of course, to ask any questions you might have. But what I would love to hear from you in the chat is ideas, examples of how one can sabotage themselves. So for example, that might mean that you want to be in shape and you join the gym, but you don't go. And you know you want to go, and you know you want to eat more healthily because you want to improve your health, but then you end up eating God knows what, no blame, something that you know is not good for you. Or you end up giving yourself excuses of how busy you are and how you don't have time, and you end up not going to the gym. It could be that you want to start your own business and you really want to do it. You really have a passion, you really have a purpose, and you want to start your business. But then when it comes to going to networking events or promoting yourself or selling your services or your products, you procrastinate. You don't have clarity. You start getting you make excuses for, not having a social media account, or not going to a networking event, or not getting the work. You might want to enjoy a beautiful, healthy, loving relationship, but for some reason, you don't feel attracted to the people you know that will be good for you. And instead, you always end up feeling attracted to the troublemakers, the ones that have, the I'm a troublemaker on the forehead. And you're like, yes, 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 that one. And these are ways in which we sabotage ourselves. We have a desire, our heart wants to do something, we have a goal, but then for some reason we do something completely different. And by the way, no judgment here. These examples that I just said, I'm guilty of all of them. So we are not here today is not the day to judge. Today is not the day to feel guilty. Today is not the day to think, oh my God, what's wrong with me? If you're here today listening to this talk or watching the recording, something called you to be here, something you were attracted to this talk for some reason. Maybe there's something you need to hear. And that is great progress already. Like I said at the beginning, we don't sabotage ourselves consciously to make our lives miserable. No one does that. It's a subconscious process that we're going to explore in more detail in a minute. It happens in a very subtle way. So it's nothing to feel embarrassed about or guilty about. And if anything, the fact that you are aware of it and that you're thinking, yeah, maybe there's a bit of self-sabotage in action here, that's already progress. That's already progress, because a lot of people will go around their lives sabotaging themselves, not realizing their full potential without even knowing it, not doing anything about it because they're not even aware of it. So when we're aware of any form of self-sabotage, or self-doubt, fears, or whatever, great. That's great. That's progress. It is coming to your awareness. It is ready to be worked on. It's saying, hello, there is something to do about it. Yeah, the guilt and shame is mobilizing. By the way, anything that is coming up for you, because I know that in these talks, very often, something might get triggered, something might come up to the surface, an uncomfortable emotion or something like that. And that's perfectly fine. Make a note of that, because at the end of the session, we're going to be tapping it away and you're going to feel much better. So just be present with it. Just allow anything that wants to come to the surface to come up. and we will work with it energetically in a minute. But yeah, please, no judgment. This is not the day. This is not the day for guilt, for embarrassment, because we all do this. We all do this in one way or another. I don't know anyone, I haven't met anyone, and I don't think I ever will, who doesn't have any form of, fear, self-doubt, any negative thoughts, any procrastination. No, we all have an element of that, right? So kindness to self, compassion and self-love over all things. So let's get started with the process. So now we know that self-sabotage is an inner conflict. There is a part of yourself that wants something, that desires something, and then there is resistance, another part or parts of yourself that is blocking that. And if the resistance is bigger than the desire, then self-sabotage happens, and then we feel stuck, and then we feel blocked, and we don't get to where we want to get. So how do we go about it? So the process I follow, I'm going to share with you the process that I follow, that I always follow with my clients, and it's something that you can apply to yourself and that you can use with yourself pretty much in any area where you identify any form of feeling stuck or blocked, or any forms of self-sabotage. Agata saying, okay, I will go. I can't get started on decluttering. Oh yeah, decluttering is something that has come up in other sessions. It feels overwhelming. Yeah, okay. I overshare. Does that count? Yeah, absolutely. If it feels wrong, if it doesn't feel healthy, and the moment you're saying overshare, it sounds like it's out of balance. So yeah, of course that counts. But yeah, I love the decluttering topic, which has come up in other sessions, and yeah, it feels overwhelming, and then it stays there, right? And we procrastinate, right? Linda's saying, I got behind with paperwork and taxes from numerous surgeries a couple of years ago, and also same as Jay, oversharing. Yeah, so thank you guys for sharing that. Yeah, see, different examples that have nothing to do with the examples I shared. So yeah, it can show up in many different ways in many areas of our life. So so step number one, we've talked about this. Awareness is the first is the key, and the first the where to start, basically. So you can think about an area of your life. We have some examples here. I've shared some examples. Think about one in particular that's particularly annoying at the moment, that you can work on today or later, once you know the process. Now, the next step is give space to the resistance. Right? So if you think about, for example, oversharing, decluttering, paperwork and taxes, there is a part of you that, that wants to share in a healthy way. There is a part of you that wants to declutter. There is a part of you that wants to get the paperwork and the taxes on time, right? Now, what's the other part? What's the part that is like, and give it space, give it a voice, let her speak. Let her say whatever she needs to say. So she said, right, okay, we're going to stop oversharing. This is not good for me. I'm going to start decluttering right now. This is my task for right now. As soon as I finish this session, actually, I'm going to stop this session to start organizing a room, or, or decluttering. Or I'm going to get my taxes done right now, in this very moment. And what thoughts come up? To sound something like, no. Ooh. Not really, not today. Okay, not today. Why not today? Give space to the resistance. This is brilliant, says Avatar. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Because we tend to repress it. We ignore it. We know that there is a part of us that is saying, yeah, no, not today, and not tomorrow, and not next week. And then we keep procrastinating because we don't get in touch with that part of ourselves that is the one that has a problem with whatever vision, or whatever goal you're trying to achieve. And then we repress it, we ignore it. And what does a kid do when they have discomfort and they're asking for something and you ignore them? They cry louder, don't they? They don't go, right, okay, you don't have time for me now. Okay, I'll understand. I'll deal with my own needs on my own. No, no, that doesn't happen. The voice gets louder. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then the resistance gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it gets to a point where you're like, right, enough of this. But that's what happened. Then you sabotage yourself even more. And that part of yourself becomes even louder and even more annoying and holds you back even more. And the more you try, I'm sure it's happened to you, like when you try to quit smoking, or when you try to go to the gym, or when you try to work on your business, or when you try, whatever it is, the more you consciously, actively try to do something, the resistance gets stronger. And then sometimes even the physical body, you might even feel like physical symptoms in the body. I remember there was a time when I was working on my business and things weren't going well. And I had many limiting beliefs about me working on my own. I have come from the corporate world, being very successful in big companies in the corporate world, and I didn't have the mindset to work for myself. And because I never paid attention to those beliefs and to the part of me that was so scared of not having stability, of failing, of not having a secure income, that part of me that was so scared, I was ignoring her so badly that I remember like really trying, really working, my promotion, my content strategy, and, and my website, and, and I was really consciously working on it. And I got sick. My body broke. And I got sick for 2 weeks. I had a terrible infection. So it was like that part of myself that was so scared and I was ignoring. First, it started as a bit of procrastination. Oh, I don't feel like doing this today. Then it sabotaged me as lack of clarity. Oh, now I want to do this. Oh, now I'm going to change my mind. Now I'm going to do something different. So it was more subtle. And eventually, I was trying really hard because my desire was really, really strong. But then the resistance became even stronger until eventually it had an impact on my physical health. Because I was ignoring her, because I was ignoring that fear that was stopping me. It's not that I was lazy. It's not that I wasn't smart enough. It's that there was a part of me that was absolutely terrified. I was saying, I'm an expert at suppressing, but it's been so exhausting. Yeah, it takes a lot of energy to keep things up. Absolutely. Because you try to suppress it, you try to keep it down. What do? They come back louder and stronger than ever. So it's a battle. It's not a battle. It's a battle that you're never going to win. And it's not war, It's like being at war with ourselves. Doesn't make any sense. I know instinctively we try to repress it, but that's not the way to go. So when we give space to those parts of ourselves, to that resistance, without judgment, but with curiosity, then you can start to understand it. And yeah, it's about wanting to control. We want to pull ourselves together and, and be very in control. But sometimes there are parts of ourselves that need something else, so then we can start to understand those parts of say, all right, okay. So give it a voice, pass them the microphone. Okay, so what do you have to say? And that part of me that was terrified, and this is just an example, but think about yours. When I tried to talk to her, I was like, right, okay, so what are you scared about? And she was absolutely terrified, What if I fail? What if I don't make any money? What if I have to go back to the corporate world? And what if I have to do a job I hate? And what if I'm unhappy for the rest of my life? And there was so much fear. so much fear. And I was like, wow, what would have happened if I had said, well, tough, we're going to do this anyway, so you better shut up. What if I let people down? Yeah, that's a big one. That's a very, 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 very common fear and a very, very common source of self-sabotage and limiting beliefs. What if I let people down? What if I disappoint whoever it is for you? What if they judge me? What if they reject me? Pass them the microphone. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Pass them the microphone. Let them speak. So what would that part of yourself say? And try to get to understand her, without judgment. When you move from a place of judgment to a place of compassion and curiosity, just curiosity, everything changes. You're already creating a safe space for whatever is going on for you. Healing can't happen if there isn't that space of safety and not judgment. If we judge ourselves, healing is never going to happen. It's never going to happen. So coming from that place of just curiosity, you don't have to agree with that part of yourself or with, actually what we're going to do, one of the next steps is we're going to have a chat with them. We're going to try to understand where that comes from. We're going to try to resolve it. It's not that you just have to accept it. All right, okay. So there is a part of me that is really scared for whatever reason. And this is what it's going to be like for the rest of my life. I'm just going to be scared for the rest of my life. No, that's not what it is about. But you come from a place of curiosity, from a place of understanding. And then you can have a chat. And you can journal about it. You can, in my work, I use a lot of visualizations, having that inner dialogue, that inner experience. Images are the language of the subconscious mind. So it works really, really well to reprogram the subconscious mind in terms of limiting beliefs and rewiring, creating new neural connections for new beliefs that will support your vision rather than stop it, that will be in resonance with your dreams, with your goals, rather than blocking them. But you can journal, you can just have that inner dialogue. Be creative. Be creative. But give them that space without judgment, with curiosity. And that on its own, sometimes when I do this work in a one-on-one session, I'm guiding someone to have this inner dialogue, or especially when we go to younger parts of ourselves, which is normally where whatever fear or doubt or, or self-doubt comes from, originate. Sometimes just starting that, just creating that space and going there and saying, hi, I'm here for you. What's going on for you? It's like, oh, she feels reassured, like just by me being there. Oh, she has someone to listen now. Oh, she knows that there's nothing wrong with her now. And that on its own can create a shift already and can create a different perspective. And then you can understand a bit more about yourself when you get triggered, if you procrastinate, if there is self-sabotage, and you can manage it much easier. And eventually the key is to just resolve that, right? So the next step will be understanding, right? So now you have identified, a part of yourself, or a younger self, maybe that's already taking you to an earlier memory or to a point of time. It might be a sensation in the body. Sometimes you can't even put words to it, but sometimes it's just like tension or something that feels, very often it's around the solar plexus or the belly or the throat, something like a block here. So sometimes, and that's fine. Sometimes you might not be able to put words to it, but whatever is coming up for you, whatever you are identifying, that part of yourself, the thought that is coming or the belief that is coming up, that is repeating, the sensation in the body, the moment when that originates, when you have experienced that sensation for the first time, or when have you experienced before? Because when we say for the first time, it become the conscious mind can get in the way, and it's like, oh, I don't know, the first time, I'm not sure. When you have experienced it before, that part of immediately, sometimes when you identify a part of yourself that has fear or negative thoughts or negative beliefs or self-doubts or just sadness and lack of energy, you know, it could be many different things. Very often it will feel like a younger part of you. Very often it feels like someone younger. Very often it feels like, and I hear this a lot in my session. Oh, suddenly I'm speaking like a child. Oh, suddenly it's sounding a bit childish. Yeah, because it's already taking you to a moment in time where that fear got imprinted, when that fear was stored and not resolved. So it's already taking you back to that younger you. But if it appears in the form of a recurring negative thought or a limiting belief, you can ask that thought or that limiting belief, oh, right, okay, or that part of yourself. It might sound like, it might not have an age, but sometimes it's funny how sometimes we describe it, because sometimes we go, oh, it looks like me, but with a really ugly hair, or or looking like a mess, or really looking very angry, or like a different color, or something like that, you know. And there's no right or wrong. That's the way we perceive it. That's the way we experience it. So ask that thought, that belief, or that part of yourself, right? So when did you make that decision? If it's a thought or a belief, oh, but if you start your business, you're going to let people down. Oh, but if you start your own business, you're going to starve to death because you're not going to make enough money. Whatever that is. Ask her, when did she make that decision? That that's not possible for you. That that's never going to happen for someone like you. That it is not safe for you to speak your truth. That you're dreaming. Who do you think you are to have such a vision? That doesn't happen for people like you. Okay. Again, don't fight it. I know, and I know this sounds annoying because I have those parts of myself too. They're bloody annoying, I know. But if instead of getting annoyed at them, again, with curiosity, all right, okay, so you think this is definitely not possible for us? No way, not in a million years. All right, okay, how come? When did you decide that this was never going to be possible for us? Where did you learn that? Who told you that? Again, curiosity, just curiosity, and see where that takes you. And this might take you into very interesting rabbit holes, really, really, really interesting rabbit holes. Very often when I'm doing this, and of course, there will be a bit of, kind of like relaxation first, and trying to create an atmosphere, and using techniques to speak more to the subconscious mind, which is where the magic happens and where all these beliefs are stored, because the conscious mind can get in the way. So we're creating this atmosphere, and when I'm sure that we're speaking more to the subconscious mind rather than the conscious mind, right, so where is this taking you? And it's like, oh, I'm suddenly in front of my neighbor's door. That doesn't make any sense. I don't even remember that day. Right, okay, ask her what's going on for her. What is she seeing? What is happening there? What is the neighbor saying? What is the neighbor doing? What is happening in the street? Oh, this is taking me to a random day of school that is completely unrelated to the problem I have with my boyfriend, for example. It's always related. If that's what's coming to your awareness, there is a reason for it. So just follow it. Just follow it. Just go there, wherever it's taking you. And I would definitely recommend, if you haven't done so already, to check my 7-day course, Step into Your Power with Confidence and Joy, that I have here inside Timer. It's on my profile. Because it takes you, so the lessons take you through this process, through a similar process of creating your vision, identifying the resistance. And it has some guided visualizations and healing meditations to help you do this, part. Hi, Dinah. We started 30 minutes ago. So we've been talking about self-sabotage, and I was in the middle of sharing a process to move from self-sabotage to reprogram yourself for joy and success. And then we're going to be doing a bit of tapping to clear any energetic blocks. So we still have a little while Left. Yeah, amazing. Oh, new here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So yeah, so we've been talking about how how we sabotage ourselves and how annoying that is when we block ourselves, when we block our own dreams and our own goals. And for anyone who has joined halfway through, we've been talking about how when there is self-sabotage, there is an inner conflict. There is a part of ourselves that wants something, desires something, has a goal, a dream, a vision. And there is another part of ourselves or parts of ourselves that is either scared or doesn't believe that it's possible or doesn't believe that it is safe for you. And we're talking about identifying those parts of ourselves, that resistance, right? Or any sensations in the body. And what we're trying to do is see them without judgment, but with curiosity. So understanding why they have that fear, why they have those doubts, why those negative thoughts, why that lack of self-belief, right? With curiosity, no judgment, and see where that takes us. Right. And like I was saying, it's about having that inner dialogue, and that can but it will always take you into an interesting rabbit hole, right? So once it's taking you to the moment or a memory, sometimes it's a very specific memory, sometimes it's a period of time, but there is always an event or series of events or a period of time where that belief was installed or downloaded, like a program, like when you install a program in a computer. And that could be very often our core beliefs develop in the first 7 years of our life. But you can experience a traumatic event or a painful breakup, for example, in your 20s, in your 40s, and create an imprint and generate a limiting belief about love, about men, about women, about yourself. So it doesn't necessarily have to take you to childhood. Very often, especially if we're dealing with a core belief, it will take you to somewhere in your early childhood, but not necessarily. So just see where that takes you. When that part of yourself made that decision that it was not possible, that it was risky, that it's not safe, that it's better to stay quiet, that it's better to not be yourself. And once you have identified that, once you follow and you got to the end of the rabbit hole, it's about resolving that situation. Because every time that there is a limiting belief or an unpleasant emotion that is stored and it gets triggered and that shows up as self-sabotage, is because something happened that wasn't resolved. Because one can experience trauma or negative experience, one can be exposed to negative programming, but if you deal with it and if you manage it properly and if you resolve it at the time, it doesn't need to create an imprint. Now, the problem is that because we develop these beliefs mainly early in childhood, who at age 5 has the knowledge or the wisdom or the, I don't know, the criteria to understand that, oh, my dad screaming at me or my dad abusing me or my mom being narcissistic or my mom telling me that I'm stupid and that I'm not smart enough is not my problem, but they're dealing with their own issues. Who at age 5 is bullied at school and has the knowing and the understanding that that has nothing to do with them, but with those kids' issues? You don't know. You don't know when you're 4, when you're 5, when you're 7, when you're 12. You don't know. So very, 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 very often, they'll be saying, I didn't know. Yeah, of course you didn't. No one does. At that age, no one does. At that age, what we know is to survive. That's what we know. That we need someone to feed us, that we need someone to put a roof over our head. That's what we know. And that's the priority. And that's what we do. And we will do anything to keep those people happy our parents, teachers, any authority figures, parental figures, caretakers. We will do anything and we will develop any form of behavior to keep them happy. Because that's what we know to survive, right? So very, very, very often, a negative comment from a figure of authority or a parental figure, a traumatic experience, a painful experience, very likely is not going to be resolved when you're a kid. Very likely it's going to leave some form of imprint. Very likely we are going to make a decision to please others, to keep ourselves small, just to be safe, right? And then we develop these beliefs. And in my case, for example, having financial stability, having financial freedom was something very important. For my mom, it was a big part of my upbringing. And for me, it was something that, you know, was very, very present. So anything that went again, having that stability, there was a part of me that was terrified, absolutely terrified. And later in my life, I didn't realize back then. I just thought, oh, that's cool. You know, I'm just being pushed to be really smart and to study and to get a proper job. Yeah, that's cool. But then when I wanted to start my business, that part of myself was absolutely, it was going against my programming. So it was absolutely terrified. So it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're going against everything that means safety and stability and freedom. And, you know, so it was panicking. It was panicking. So sometimes we don't understand. We're not aware of those decisions when they happen. It's later in life when suddenly it's like, okay, something feels blocked here. Something doesn't feel quite right here. So again, no judgment, because we all do this in one way or another. So explore it with curiosity. And then it's about, you know, resourcing that part of yourself. And it's like, all right, okay, what do you need instead? And very often just being heard is healing. Very often just having a bit of a reassurance, you know, or helping them see that whatever happened was not their fault, or that they can see things with a different perspective. It's like, wow. And you can do this, you can have this inner dialogue with yourself, and I would encourage to do it. What I do in my sessions, like I said, I do a lot of visualization work. Images are the language of the subconscious mind, so it works really well. So if you integrate that, if you have that inner dialogue and you really see that happening, it can create such a big shift. It can be so transformational. So I would definitely encourage you to do that. And then once that part of yourself is like, all right, okay, so maybe I was wrong. Maybe I can succeed in my business. Yeah, okay. Maybe there is another way to make money. Okay. So maybe this is not the only way. Great. Also, maybe it was not my fault. Maybe it's not that I wasn't smart enough. Okay. Also, maybe it's not that I did something wrong. It's just my parents that were nuts and dealing with their own trauma. Okay. And that creates a shift. And that's how you can start developing more empowering beliefs that will support your vision, your dreams, your heart desires. So in a nutshell, that's the process. Now, is it easy? It's simple. It's simple. It doesn't have that many steps. It's not complex. It's not a complex process. Is it easy? It depends. It depends. For some people, it's not easy because obviously it's for brave people. It's not for everyone. I'm aware of that. I'm aware that what I'm talking here is deep stuff, like really deep stuff. And yeah, it can get emotional, and it can be hard sometimes to be like, oh wow, so all this time it was this belief that was holding me back. Shit. That's not great. So yeah, sometimes it's not easy, but it's not that difficult. It's simple. It's a simple process. And for the brave ones, and I'm assuming that if you were attracted to this call for whatever reason, to this session, is because you are one of the brave ones, because you wouldn't be here otherwise. So I would definitely encourage you to, you know, to embark on that self-discovery and healing journey. And we're going to do a bit of tapping to finish, because like I said, I have a course where I take you through this through this process step by step with proper tools that I don't have time, or I wouldn't be able to guide you in that process, because it's something personal, and everyone will be different. But what we can do is we can do a bit of tapping to clear, so I invite you to from this session, if anything came up, any parts of yourself, it could be a part of yourself, describe what it looks like. It could be a sensation in the body, it could be an emotion, it could be a recurring thought, it could be a belief. Maybe that's already taking you to somewhere, to a point in time, then great. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is to use your own words as we do the tapping. I'm going to explain it in a second. Dinah saying, exactly, it's the trauma we experience from our programming. I know I have a lot of that, and at almost 54, I'm figuring out and seeing my family for who they are as I'm working on my own self-esteem and self-love. Yeah, and sometimes what happens is that, we see people through very different, sometimes we see them through tainted glasses, right? And sometimes it's like, actually, that wasn't right. Actually, now I'm realizing that it was your own problems, or so as you discover that, you will see things differently. You will start to, the way you see things, the way you understand things, that will change, definitely. So we're going to do some tapping. For the ones of you who are not familiar with tapping, we're just going to tap on certain points of the face and the body, so you just need to follow along. So normally we do a few rounds focusing on whatever we want to clear. So we're going to start with the side of the hands. With the side of the hand, you can choose one or the other, it doesn't make any difference. And I want you to pick one of those thoughts, one of those, let's start with the generic one. So we're going to start saying, even though I sabotage myself sometimes, I love and accept myself anyway. And we always start with that setup statement, even though, whatever you want to clear, I love and accept myself anyway. Because again, we are creating that space of safety, non-judgmental curiosity. So I sabotage myself sometimes, I'm human. I love and accept myself anyway. And then healing can start happening from that space of acceptance, self-love, curiosity, and non-judgment. So even though I sabotage myself sometimes, I love and accept myself anyway. And even though, fill in the blank, even though I have this negative thought, even though this part of myself is scared, even though I have this tension in the body, even though when I was a kid I was bullied, whatever has been coming up for you today, I love and accept myself anyway. I'm going to tap on the top of the head now and keep repeating out loud whatever might have come up for you today. The thoughts, the parts of yourself, just describe it. Side of the eyebrow. So it might sound something like, even though I'm always procrastinating and I'm sick of it and I feel it in my stomach, and every time I think about promoting my business, I just feel sick in my body. And there is this part of myself that is so scared, that just doesn't want to do it. I love and accept myself anyway. This point is the side of the body where the bra strap will be. And again, we're going to do a few rounds of this. Even though I always end up in toxic relationships, and there is a part of me that doesn't feel loved, and I was never loved, and I never learned true love, I love and accept myself anyway. So those are just a few examples, but use your own words. I'm going to encourage you to use your own words, because it's when you hit the spot that really the healing happens. And we're going to do a few more rounds of this. Make sure you're breathing deeply and slowly as you do this, allowing the energy to flow. We are inviting all those thoughts or parts of ourselves or unpleasant emotions to come to the surface. We're clearing them energetically. And with the other, with two, just one, crossing over, that doesn't make any difference. And if nothing is coming up for you or you don't know how to give it words, just say self-sabotage. I sabotage myself. And even though I sometimes sabotage myself, I love and accept myself anyway. Normally tap around, I don't know, several times, like 5-7 times on each point. But if you feel called to tap on one time in particular, listen to your body, because it might be where, you know, whatever block wants to come to the surface. So listen to your body. One more round. Your own words. Continuing to breathe deeply and slowly, allowing the energy to flow. Beautiful. So I'm going to invite you now to take a deep breath and just take a moment to check in with yourself and assess if whatever was going on for you feels less intense, same, or more intense. There's no right or wrong, by the way. If you feel less intense, it means that, you know, something has been cleared already, something is being released already. Sometimes it can be that it feels more intense. And that doesn't mean that you made it worse. It just means that maybe you're tuning into something that was a bit dormant and now it's coming to your awareness before it can be released. So it feels a bit more intense in that process. So it just means that it needs a bit more tapping, a bit more releasing. So I would love to hear from you how that went. And normally on Mondays, I run a tapping session where we choose a topic and I share some common blocks or common affirmations, you know, so I guide the words and I say the words and I ask you to repeat out loud with me. So we've had topics on self-confidence. What have we covered? We have covered many things. What time? So it depends on the Monday. I don't have anything scheduled for next Monday because I need to confirm a couple of sessions. But if you follow me on Inside Timer, you will be notified every time I release a new live event. So make sure you follow so you're notified. I have a session next Thursday. And I forgot what it is about. Oh, I think it's about fulfillment and living with purpose and being your authentic self. So that one is next Thursday, and it's going to be similar to this one, a longer talk. Normally the Monday ones are 30-minute sessions to just have more the tapping, and I just lead the session, the affirmations. So we normally do a few rounds for whatever we want to clear, and then we do a few rounds for positive affirmations to kind of imprint those positive affirmations. Today, I wanted to share mainly with you the tool so you can use it anytime. And because we have been exploring, you know, during the step-by-step process, lots of things might have been coming up for you, and obviously it's going to be different for every person. I wanted you just to teach you, to show you the process, and so you could use your same words. Yeah, no, I understand that they were saying I follow you, but I get a lot of messages. So yeah, I understand that you might get a lot of notifications. So just there will be something on Monday. It's normally either at 1:30 p.m. my time, so UK time, or around this time, like 5:30 p.m. UK time. Oh, Linda is saying, thank you, I donated and it's not showing up. Yeah, it's not showing up. Oh, but thank you so much for your donation. Much appreciated. They were saying lots of things I need to work on. Yeah, so every Monday we cover a different topic. So yeah. So I need to leave in around 5 minutes. I'm happy to stay for a bit longer to answer any questions you might have, because I have a session now in 5 minutes, so I will need to wrap up at that time. So thank you so much, guys, for following, your comments, your reviews, your donations, to support these sessions are much appreciated. Thank you so much, Linda. I'm really not sure why that's not showing up, but anyway, appreciated anyway. And thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much, guys, for sharing your insights and your experiences, because you make these sessions rich, and I love to read and hear your wisdom and your journeys. And yeah, every time you say something in the chat, I'm sure someone else resonates and identifies with that, and gets inspired, and so yeah, every message, everything you say here in the chat counts, guys, and it makes a difference. So thank you so much. And yeah, so feel free to follow me so you're notified of new content, courses, and live sessions coming up. And feel free to drop me a message. I always love to hear from you. So if you have, if you're facing like a particular challenge, or is there any topic that you're interested in, I have lots, like so much content and so many resources that I can point you to. So yeah, so feel free to send me a message here, because I'm always happy to hear from you and share content or point you to any resources. Yeah, they were saying helps to have others to put words to it. Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you feel a bit stuck and like, and then someone says something, you're like, oh yeah, that's me, that me too, I also feel that way. So yeah, absolutely. And I love that sense of community. And yeah, so guys, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate all of you and your support, your wisdom, and yeah, be in touch, and I will see you around in more live sessions.